I am Ashanti Martyr, and that's it.
So Ashanti Martyr, she lives in Canada right now, but she lived in St. Lucia for 18 years before moving away. It's amazing what 11 years of a difference in age can do. The person that I know right now had a whole life before I was even born. And she has such a different perspective in terms of her childhood, coming from two different lifestyles, two different homes, that really influence who she is and who she became. So I'm so excited to chat with her, and I'm so excited for her to share her story with you. Welcome, Ashanti. So Shanti, to start off, could you tell us a little bit about your childhood and maybe even about how you were born?
My childhood it's I think it's everything. Happy, sad, normal, not normal. My earliest memories of falling down and bursting my head. And everybody insists that there is no way that I can remember that, but I do. And I still have the scar. And you probably can't see it, but I still have the scar right there. My cousin was carrying me on her back. We call it giving jockey. She was giving me jockey on her back. I think I was about somewhere between 1 and 2 years old, maybe just before, somewhere around that age. And she was giving me jockey, and climbing up the stairs, we had these there were 3 stairs to get into the apartment we were living in. And I slipped off her back and fell headfirst into the edge of the step. And yes, I do remember falling, and I do remember seeing that step coming up towards me. To this day, I actually still have nightmares about falling and things coming up towards me and hitting myself on things when I've fallen. I remember crying. I remember blood flying, gushing everywhere, running down my face. And my nanny at the time, I guess, came running, gave my cousin a good scolding whacker on her head, and rushed me to the bathroom to get me cleaned up. And I remember my cousin doing this leapfrog dance with a rag in her hand to clean up the drops of blood, following us to clean up the drops of blood on the floor. I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing this white, I call it a popcorn suit. It was like a onesie type thing, short legs thing. Yeah.
So what about how you were born?
Apparently, my mother almost died after I was born. She came down with a fever, which was so high that they actually had to put her in a body bag filled with ice in order to try to bring her temperature down. This was a few days after I was born. The family was certain, almost certain, that she would not survive. She would not have survived that.
So I'm always so curious whether or not you know how you got that name.
My father is a lover of all things African. I actually think I embody that name, very much so.
And what about nicknames?
Yeah, a lot of my family likes to call me Titi. I was actually Zoom Zoom before. Is it Mazda cars that use that Zoom Zoom in their ads? Zoom Zoom Zoom. Yeah, I was Zoom Zoom before Zoom Zoom was Zoom Zoom, and it was because I ran around a lot. I don't think I walked as a kid. I just ran.
So tell us a little bit more about how you grew up.
I grew up between, I'd say, both my grandparents' houses. So one would be up on the Morn, and the other one would be down in Pasius. In Pasius, Miku, Denry, those areas. More fortune was bougie. All the big concrete houses, indoor plumbing, well-to-do people, and Pasius was pit latrine, go do your business in a hole at the back of the house. Your shower is on a bunch of stones with a little bit of galvanize around you. Freezing cold water, you're bathing outside under the sky in the elements, hoping some wild animal doesn't come and bite your bum. You're sleeping in no indoor plumbing, so if you have to go to the bathroom in the night, hard luck, there's a hole under the bed. You pull out, you do your business, you push it back under the bed. Whoever else wakes up, they pull the pole out, they use it, push it back under the bed, and then you empty it in the morning in the pit latrine, which was a little ways at the back of the house. They were two very different ends of the spectrum. The one that people would think of as being poorer probably gave me the richer upbringing, in that I spent a lot of time outside, like pretty much 90% of my time there was spent outside, running around, playing with cousins, climbing trees, eating fruits and veggies, raising animals, just learning how to live off the land, so to speak. Whereas the richer one probably gave me better social skills because it was more learning to navigate among people, the elites in society, so to speak, how to present yourself to other people and I guess get things done. So I got a bit of both worlds in that essence. So up the morn, my grandparents did live together, but my grandfather would leave for work at 7 o'clock on the dot every morning, which was just about when we're waking up. So you woke up just in time to see him going out the door and say bye, daddy. So that was my grandmother. My grandmother pretty much took us everywhere. Yeah, she would take me to school the times I would stay with her then. My school was not too far from her workplace, so at lunchtime I would be with her. She would take me back to school, pick me up at the end of the day. There was my aunt who was home pretty much all the time. She did a lot of lessons from home. Even when she worked, work was not that far from home, so she was like pretty much a permanent fixture there. And maids, they had a lot of maids. Every couple of years, we had a different maid. So it was more of an elite lifestyle. Didn't go outside that much, because the house was surrounded by a giant fence. Dogs to keep people outside. Every single dog was called Pepper. As soon as one died, another Pepper came in, that one died, another Pepper came in, and they all looked the same, very big black dogs, so you just have to be crazy to even come in there. The extent of me going outside would be to go at the back of the house, where she did have an extensive plot of land. So climb some trees. She had a chicken coop at the back there once. I would catch the chickens, play with the chickens. The house used to be just upstairs and it stood on pillars. Downstairs, the apartment downstairs wasn't built yet. So I spent a lot of time playing in the dirt downstairs until that apartment was built. Yeah, when they first built the apartment, I spent a lot of my time alone downstairs in that apartment. That time my father was in England studying and he left all of his books down there. And I would sneak down there and read all of his books. He had all of these storybooks, be it Brothers Grimm, the whole complete works of Brothers Grimm, or African folk tales and Nancy stories, childcraft books, everything was down there. So I went to every conceivable world you can imagine through his books. I got my first set of stitches from being down there because I fell off the stairs onto a crate of bottles, which broke and then cut my leg. Oh yeah, in the South now with my other grandmother, I was surrounded by, that's a big family. Like to this day, I'm still discovering family members adding to that family. So that was a big family. Pretty much everybody you meet, oh, that's your cousin by so and so and so and so. You lose track of it. Compared to the North one, the family is usually just the ones in that house. In the South, it's like everybody is the family. So it was more community oriented down there. I would say the North family was more keep to themselves. The Southern family was mingled with everybody else. A lot of my time was spent outside versus the North family where it was spent inside. Outside running around, getting lost. We would leave the house pretty much when we wake up after we've had breakfast and not come back until dinner time. Playing with animals, going and tie a goat somewhere, going and tie a cow somewhere, feeding the pigs, chasing chickens. Lots of playing in the trees, rolling down the sides of mountains. There was a little natural spring down at the bottom of the house called Touclair. I don't think I've ever seen a natural spring anywhere else in St. Lucia, but that was really cool. There was this giant river down at the bottom of the hill. No, not hill, mountain. That was a damn mountain. It was huge. I have pretty much every scar on my body is from that mountain. I have a few aches I know are from sliding down the mountain using a coconut tree as a toboggan or a bobsled or whatever you want to call it, the coconut branch. And, a rock takes the coconut branch, sends it off course, everybody goes tumbling, and it's a steep mountain, so you go tumbling down. Finding bees in caves, watching my idiot cousins decide to go scaling on the side of a cliff to go get the honey in the cave with nothing but bandanas and long sleeve shirts on them, and then laughing my tail off when they all fall out because the bees don't want you to take their honey. Walking to the beach. The beach is like a 3-hour walk away. So you have to be committed to going to the beach, falling in the river and coming out with crayfish attached to my dress. Yeah, it was good. My aunt used to have a Christmas party after midnight mass every Christmas. Yeah, when she stopped having them, those I missed, man. Because you'd go to sleep, we would sleep, we'd go to bed early, try to fall asleep. You might fall asleep, you might not, but we would sleep until about 9-10 o'clock and get ready for midnight, get ready for midnight mass. Head to the church around 11, the whole midnight mass tradition. And then the whole neighborhood, this was down in Monterey, the whole neighborhood after church would somehow end up at my aunt's home, and she'd have this big party that goes all the way till dawn. The pigs they just finished killing the day before, meats, smoked meat and cake and food and everything, and the music, and you had to stay up the whole night essentially. And then the next day, Christmas Day, everyone is passed out.
So tell us a little bit about your schooling.
I spent 17 years in all girls schools. Okay, not 17, 15. So I went to convent preschool, wearing a uniform of baby blue and white. Then I went to Ave Maria Girls School, infant and primary, wearing navy blue and white. Then I went to St. Joseph's Convent, wearing royal blue and white. Then I went to South Lewis Community College. Finally left the blue and white.
And what about things like work? Did you have jobs growing up?
I don't think I actually remember my first job. But the two jobs that I do remember, one, I was working at, I think it was for NIS. I'm not even 100% sure. It was at the government buildings on the waterfront. And I also worked for Simpex ISIS, Institute of Self-Improvement Systems. She started out as my best friend because our families lived next to each other up the morn. We went to preschool together, most of Ave Maria together until I think we ended up in separate classes in standard 4. But yeah, it's one of those where we started out as best friends and then we kind of drifted apart. Nothing happened, we just went in different directions. And then around our 20s, we kind of made it back together again. We like to tell people we've known each other since we were 2 years old. Okay, so I have 3 children, one 19, almost 20, one 11, almost 12. I don't even know anymore. And one 9, almost 10. I was a child having children. That's scary. From an age where people don't even want to tell you what sex is. So, suddenly you have the product of sex growing in you and you have no idea what's going on, no clue what's going on. Yeah. It was scary. I mean, going back to younger teenage years, I used to think that you lost your virginity by being kissed. So after I got my first kiss at 10, anybody who asked me if I'm a virgin, I'd be saying no. So there you go. Yeah. So get to the kids part, it was scary. And coming from that background, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody was talking about it. It was just this big scandal. Like, you should know better. Well, how should I know better? Because I didn't even know how I get there. So yeah, it was a lot of stuff I had to navigate to myself, a lot of people making me feel ashamed of myself. Social pariah, essentially. I wanted to do graphic design at first. Yeah, And then I was some other life, honestly. But it's not a matter of wishing that I made more time for it. It's a matter of wishing that I had more time for it. Because as a young mother, the lifestyle that a single person would live is not the lifestyle that I could live as somebody with a child. A lot of my social life, hanging out with friends, traveling the world, all of that evaporated. It went. Now that the kids are older and a little more independent, it's slowly starting to come back. But I would say, yeah, I wish I had more time just to be a young person. I kind of skipped that phase of my life.
So looking back at your life, what would you say you are most proud of?
And the fact that I have raised 3 kids without killing anyone. I say it as a joke, but believe me, that is something very legit to be proud of. It wasn't easy. I mean, the results are worth it, but the journey getting there were times I had doubts. There are times I still have doubts. So I'm proud that I did not turn out how they thought I would turn out.